I'm Jen. I'm the co-founder of Girls Soccer Network, and I'm just so delighted to have you guys here and to see some of your faces. And um, you know, I started this 7 years ago because I saw the impact soccer was having on my daughter, and there was no community for girls to share their own stories of soccer. And so we put up an Instagram and a website, and then suddenly just you guys started coming, and it's just been so fun to watch this grow. And I definitely have a lot of gratitude for that. So we wanted to do something a little different and do a Friendsgiving, and hopefully have some of you guys, meet one another. And it's an odd time. I know a Wednesday during the middle of the week at this time is not easy. But thank you for, sharing this space with us. And I'm gonna let our experts take it over right now.
Hi, everyone. My name is Amanda Ferranti. I am a soccer player first and foremost. I grew up in New York playing here on a very high level youth team. We were national champions. We went to championship 3 years in a row. And then I was recruited to play at Princeton. So I continued my career there. And then I was fortunate enough to play again with the Rough Riders, which is a semi-pro team. And at the time, I got into coaching. And then I also discovered the field of sports psychology. So that's really my specialization now in my career. And I really absolutely love what I do. And I think that's part of what I am super grateful for. And what I want to share with you all today, some education about gratitude, what it means, how it can actually physically help you in your performance, and then maybe leave you with some tools or ideas that you can use to foster a practice of gratitude moving forward. All right, so I'm going to let the other panelists introduce themselves, and then we'll jump into the presentation.
Hey everyone, I'm Sam. I am originally from St. Louis, and then I played for 5 years at the University of Iowa. And so was a college soccer player for the last 5 years, and then found myself wanting to keep my career going. So in January, I was drafted into the NWSL by Racing Louisville, and then I signed my first professional contract overseas in Sweden. So I've been playing in Sweden for the last 8 months. I actually just got back to the US like 3 days ago. So if I seem a little jet lag and a little confused, that's why. Happy to be back in the US. And I am just so excited to talk about community and how the people around me through my soccer journey brought me where I am, and how grateful I am for all aspects of community.
Hi everyone, I am Erica, now Mulholland. I just got married this year, so I'm getting used to like saying my new name, but I grew up playing the game. I started at age 6 and fell in love with it right away, and definitely dabbled in other sports, but soccer was always my primary passion. And I went on to play in college at Johns Hopkins University. And then after that, I went to play in Brazil for a year, semi-professionally. And I also coached kids while I was down there. And that kind of sparked my passion to give back to youth and get back into coaching when I came back into the States. And I personally discovered sport performance training. So really helping girls get strong in the gym, learn how to do speed and agility development, because those things played a big role in my life as a soccer player. And I will talk about that today, and just kind of some of the things I'm thankful for from my training experience and getting into good habits young, and why it's important to do those things for life. So I've been doing performance training for young girl soccer players for almost 13 years now. So just really grateful to give back and continue to work in the game, and also be a part of this great community with Girls Soccer Network. So yeah, just really thankful to be here and excited to talk and have good discussion.
Yeah. And we wanted to get to know you guys a little bit. So we have a quick like little game just to know who you guys are and like everything. So it'll be a poll, feel free to answer if you see fit. But I know we'll be answering and having some fun with this as well. Okay, so our first question, I think, can we see this? I'm assuming we can.
Yep. Yes.
Awesome. Fantastic. Okay, so our first question is, would you rather play in the heat or the cold? So you can put it in the chat, you can say it out loud, you can vote on the poll, however you see fit. We got some cold lovers. Okay. It's a little crazy to me. I think I'm a heat all day.
I live in Florida, so I'm sick of the heat.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Kim's sick of the cold too.
Same.
All right.
Los Angeles.
There-
The heat.
Yeah.
All right, maybe it's the Midwestern in me that's like this cold's too much. I mean, I've been in Sweden, so. All right, the next question I thought would you rather play an entire game in mismatched socks or with your jersey inside out? Okay, we got all socks. I think I agree. I think I'm a socks person too. Like, you might look a little silly. My club team back in the day used to do that intentionally though, so maybe I could just play it off that I was trying to be spunky. Our next one is Thanksgiving themed. Would you rather have cranberry sauce on everything you eat or gravy on everything you eat?
Oh, that's easy.
Okay, we're getting some mixed results here. We're about 50-50 right now, cranberry sauce and gravy. Some are saying gravy. I'm cranberry sauce all day. I'll put cranberry sauce on literally everything I eat. So that's an all day experience all year. Okay, would you rather our Thanksgiving dinner be burnt or completely cold?
Oh.
Everyone's saying cold.
I mean, definitely cold. I mean, that's like second dinner.
Yeah.
That's what leftovers are for, right? I love it. I love it. And our last question, would we rather be in a state of gratitude or constant complaining? All right, as figured, we got pretty much 100% gratitude going on. And I would hope as much. And that's why we're here to get better and work on that.
Yeah.
All right.
Good, good. All right. So now that we're kind of comfortable, we've had some fun and really Sam just opened up the discussion about gratitude. So when I look at gratitude, and I'm gonna share my screen with a little bit of slides just to give you a visual. I think of gratitude in terms of it could be a character trait or it could be a feeling. So let's think about them in terms of both when we have this discussion. So if you're in a state of feeling, it's a feeling of appreciation. More specifically, we write it's a feeling of appreciation for the people and experiences in your life, or specifically soccer, right? And when I think of that definition, I pretty much think of everything, right? It's all the people around you. We can name them, right? Your teammates, your opponent, your coach, your parents, the ref, everyone included in the environment, and also all of the experiences. And you see at the bottom, even when things aren't going the way you planned or hoped, it's pretty much looking at where you are at the moment and seeing the good side of it and appreciating it. And I want to add to this definition, like under people, that includes you too. So it's a feeling of appreciation towards yourself and everything that you're doing, the effort you're putting in, the time you're putting in, all of your character traits that you're demonstrating day in and day out. And I think a lot of times we focus on other people, which is amazing and excellent start, but how we treat ourselves is actually the top priority. And I say this to people all the time, like, you're not going to treat anyone differently than you treat yourself, and yourself starts first. So as we go through this training, really want you to think of all the concepts and apply it to how you can start talking to yourself. And also, it's an expression of thankfulness. So not just thankfulness towards other people, but a thankfulness towards what you're doing. And that would be more of a character trait. So, okay, good. Let's look at this as a character trait first. And when I teach character, I think of two things. First of all, well, questions I ask, are you born with character, or is that something that you develop over time? And so think about that to yourself for a second. and you could always put things in the chat as I ask questions because they're kind of rhetorical, but I want you to maybe have the active process of thinking. And if you want to share, that would be great. So for me, it's more of something you develop over time, right? Character is a choice and they're behavioral actions. So if gratitude is a character trait and I have a choice, that means every day that I wake up and I go through life and I go to soccer, I can choose to show the appreciation, to show thankfulness towards other people and towards myself. So on the board, I just gave some examples of what that could look like. It could simply be saying thank you. It could be smiling. So you see in the photos, players just smiling and enjoying themselves. It could be sportsmanship, and sportsmanship includes, being faced with a challenge or a competitor and you're competing to win or lose. And even at the end of the game, if you lose, you're gracious and grateful that you had that competitor to play against. So a mantra one of my coaches used to say is be humble in victory and gracious in defeat. And I think that one really stuck with me too, to understand the concept of gratitude in this context. Encouraging teammates, right? So supporting the people around you to work hard and just appreciating, the other one I wrote here is acknowledging other people's efforts, like appreciating all the parties involved, appreciating all the work your coach does for training, the ref coming and showing up and doing their job, your parents putting the effort in to get you there and to support you. Just all the other people in your environment acknowledging that they are working hard as well. And then showing respect for others and the game. So I wrote that because I think that's something that comes up personally for me. I still play, and I feel like there's a way to respect the game that you're playing, not only maybe like the rules, like respect the rules, like, hey, if the ball goes out of bounds, be honest, respect how the game is played, and respect the whole culture around it, the diversity that goes within the game. It's a global game, right? So these are just some ideas, and I'm also want to open up or share that this is not an exclusive list. So if you can think of something else that goes on the list, even throughout the presentation, feel free to add it to the chat so that we can all learn and grow from one another. Right? So these actions, you can choose to show them each day more and more and more. I look at it as a percent of time. So maybe I smiled, 60% this week. Maybe next week I try to smile 70%, and I try to build on these, or same with sportsmanship, any of these factors. Now, how do you do that? This kind of gets to the internal process. So if you look at gratitude more as an emotion, I think you got, I see your face, you're a little bit younger. So one thing I like to teach is that emotions are not necessarily controllable. I wish I could wake up feeling happy every day. I wish I can feel confident every time I step on the field. But the reality is that there's ebbs and flows, there's highs and lows. Sometimes I'm going to feel good, sometimes I'm not, and that's okay. So gratitude falls under that. Like I would like to feel as, the most level of gratitude I could possibly feel every time I go to practice. That's not always going to be the case, but there are things that I can do to get me into that state of mind. And that's basically what I'm saying is it's a mindset. It's your thoughts. So if you look at what I wrote up here, focus on what is going well. Everything here is all about the way you're thinking, and that we can control. I can control what I'm paying attention to. So let's say I go to a training session or a game and I walk away, or even throughout that practice or game, I can focus on the things that are going well for me. What am I doing that I'm proud of? And it could be, communication, leadership. It could be that I'm staying positive after mistakes. The act of searching for the good is a practice of gratitude, because you're basically saying, like, I just appreciate that I'm here and I'm able to play, and I appreciate that I'm giving an effort. And so I'm just going to be kind to myself and celebrate what I'm doing well. And that kind of goes with the next point of see the good and the positives. One phrase, I don't know if you guys heard this, but the glass is half full, not half empty. So look at what you have, not what you don't have, And I think this is it's a skill. I think you can learn it, and part of learning it is catching yourself when you're not looking at the good, when you're really focused on things that aren't going well, or you're maybe catch yourself complaining. That's usually a sign that you're not in a place of gratitude. So moments for that, you want to shift in and be like, well, what's good about this situation? And that's the next one, is view challenge as an opportunity, because most of the time we fall out of gratitude when there's a challenge or things aren't going the way that we hoped. You know, there's maybe a setback, an adversity, an obstacle, a conflict with somebody. These are, again, not bad situations in life. They're actually the point of growth. And that's where gratitude comes in. It takes a situation that maybe is not favorable, something you didn't want to happen. When you put gratitude into that moment, that's when you grow. So it's like a catalyst for growth. And I just wrote here, opportunity is a great word for you to maybe keep in mind moving forward, is that, you know what, there's something to learn here and there's an opportunity for me. It doesn't mean that I'm bad as a player, and it doesn't mean that, well, a lot of people say like, I'm not good enough, or asking questions like, why is this happening? Because I feel like that kind of question doesn't really help you move forward. So we're going to use gratitude to help us grow. And that is the next point of setting goals to foster a growth mindset. So we have this challenge, maybe face it with, like, look at it with opportunity, and then set goals. And why is setting goals a form of appreciation and thankfulness? It's because you get to be a part of a sport, right? And inherent in sport, or natural to sport, is challenge. And this idea of like wanting to elevate yourself to the next level. And in order to do that, if you come to like a speed bump and you just complain and fall off gratitude, you're not really going to grow. So you want to set a goal from that moment for learning and intention so that you can move forward. And that actually goes back to my point about respecting the game and yourself and the time and energy that you put into it. And the last one is using mantras. So I've actually been sharing some mantras as we go along, and I have some written here, and I would love for anyone here to share mantras. I know some of my colleagues might have some of their own, but a mantra is basically a phrase, a quick phrase that you can rely on to help you maybe get into a state of gratitude. So for me, I like to say, I'm right where I need to be. Whatever's happening, whether it's uncomfortable or challenging, but this is right where I need to be, and this is what's going to help me move forward. You can even say something like, I am enough. I choose kindness today. Wrote some down. Or what is the gift? What is the learning? What's the opportunity I have right now? Let me see, open up the chat. Gratitude for the hard days as much as the easy. Yep, I can and I will be where your feet are. Yeah. Oh, I can and I will be where your feet are. So that's similar. I love that one. Grow where you're planted. It always works in my favor. So just it's a choice, it's a mindset, and a belief is a thought that you just keep thinking over and over. So we have these wires in our brain that get connected together, and those are thoughts. So if I say to myself, here's the next one, attitude of gratitude. If I keep saying that to myself, if I keep saying I'm right where I need to be, I'm going to start to believe it. And guess how I'm going to start to feel? Calm, peace, gracious. And what do you think happens as a result of that? Oh, that went backwards. Here's a list of some things. And again, I'm only giving you some points. There is so much scientific evidence showing the power of gratitude physically for your health. And again, you guys are young, but the first one is just paramount to me. Elevate your mental well-being and happiness. Who doesn't want that? So if you're telling me if I can show up every day, choose gracious behaviors, right? Choose to show gratitude, start talking to myself in a way that builds this feeling, I'm going to feel happier. I'm going to have better relationships with, the people in my environment, my teammates, my coaches, my parents, my peers. I'm going to feel a greater sense of community, which I think is a natural human need, is to feel a part of a group and a community. And so that actually helps you build a positive outlook on life. So could you feel like you belong? And then the one at the bottom, which is I think a lot of people care about too, is you perform better. I mean, I think, what I do is performance psychology. So we try to look at what can I do internally to help me actually produce better results on the field, because I think what we share in common on this call is we absolutely love the game and it feels good to play good. And I'm going to suggest a reversal of that is help yourself feel good first, and you will play good as a result. So try to get yourself into the feeling state before you even step on the field. All right. And I see some taking notes, like we can always share this too afterwards. So if you want to refer back to it, because I do think it's good to have something on paper to work with, because this is a learning process. I don't expect you to memorize all of this within an hour, if that. So I just want to move on so we can hear our great stories. The last thing we're going to do is practice together. So in the chat, if you're comfortable, we have one, you could pick one way, you could do 2 or 3, it's up to you, but practicing gratitude could be in the form of a journal. That is, to me, is the easiest way to start. And maybe not daily, I think that's an ultimate goal, but at least weekly, getting to that journal and writing down things you're grateful for. And even I would say writing down things you're proud of for yourself, writing down moments you showed character traits. But for now, we're going to say, pick one of these sentences that resonates with you. So I'll give you examples. I am lucky to have the support of, my parents and my family. They really helped me pursue a career in sports psychology. And I'm also very lucky to have such a great network from all of my years of playing and to be a part of this network. I'm lucky that I've had a lot of challenges in the game, 2 ACL surgeries, difficult coaches, ups and downs, losses. And I think it all set me up for this career to help other players. It's like when I talk to people, I'm like, there's nothing I really haven't heard. And I feel lucky that I had to go through those trials and still go through them, because I'm able to turn it into helping others. And I am lucky because I have a career that I really love, and I think that's not as common. And I'm grateful that it's in the world of soccer, because I absolutely love the sport and I get to talk about it, play, coach pretty much every day. I don't know if anyone else wants to share. If you want to share in the chat, or if you guys want to share out loud. And if not, we're gonna also hear from Erica now and hear a real life story of maybe how all of this science applies into real life.
Yeah, so I look back on just my playing career and kind of things that I've taken into life after sport. I'm retired from playing and really sad that I'm not in the game anymore, but now I am coaching, and just grateful to be in the performance space, because yes, it is about developing speed and agility and getting girls faster and stronger and being able to be healthy on the field and reduce chances of things like ACL injuries. But I also realize it's more than that as well. And yes, performance training, it made me healthy. It made me faster and fitter and able to run longer. But I'm just looking at all the health benefits that have continued into my life today, and just really starting to see how important it is to continue to, I guess, be a lifelong athlete and still chase performance, even if you're not playing soccer anymore. So I just want to share some of the things I'm grateful for from the performance lens. So I'll share my screen because I just have a few fun photos from some of my girls here. Okay, so yeah, I just touched on this a little bit. The health benefits and just getting into these good habits young was something that I look back on and I'm super thankful for, because I did do strength training and speed training starting in middle school. I think that's a great time for any girl soccer player to start learning these things. And the weight room really taught me to be disciplined and take care of my body and be consistent with my training so I could continue to progress and improve and build muscle, and get faster and be more resilient for the length of my career. And it also really taught me just good recovery habits. And now today working in sports, and I'm sure Amanda and Jen and Sam can say the same. I mean, burnout is still a real thing when you start working and you have a career, and it's important to still incorporate recovery and periodization into your daily life. So it definitely taught me the importance of taking rest days so that I can go hard when I need to go hard in my work or other things that I'm doing. So that's been a habit that stuck with me for a while. And then also just really getting into good nutrition habits young. I didn't really work with a nutritionist going through my career, but I had some great resources when I was in college and after. And that definitely is something that you continue after sport too, if you want to continue to stay healthy and energized and focused and motivated. And we talk a lot about mental health as well, and food definitely impacts mental health. And I'm really grateful for just being able to learn that along the way and just continue to set myself up for good mental, emotional, physical, and also hormonal health too. Nutrition has definitely played a big role. So definitely love that I learned these habits young and learn discipline young. And I'm grateful I can share that with girls that are just starting in this journey. And it's really important to build those habits over time. The next thing I'm really grateful for from just performance training, strength training in my journey is I learned how critical it is to challenge yourself. And I really think that confidence is something that comes from leaning into challenge and overcoming something that maybe you didn't feel as skilled with, and you work at it, you practice it against people who might be better than you, but then you realize that you can do it, and then you see on the other side of challenge that you got this. And I really think that performance training, like speed and conditioning, I mean, we all have done those conditioning runs that really push our limit a little bit. But when we come out of those, we feel more prepared for the game. And we have to really lean into that discomfort. And then as far as the weight room, it's really the ultimate stimulus to get better. And you can't really get stronger if you don't challenge yourself in the weight room. And before I got really serious about strength training, I was one of those girls who just kind of hung out at the 5-pound dumbbells and didn't really progress. But you have to eventually load over time, and you have to go from 5 pounds to 10 pounds and then eventually to 20 and way beyond that to build muscle and get stronger. And it might be uncomfortable at first, but it's worth it. It's worth it to continue to improve. And I remember also when I got my first pull up without any assistance, it was really hard. It was a grind getting my chin over the bar, but I did it, and I had worked at it for several months. And just even getting something like that really grew my confidence. So I think it's so important to challenge yourself, and not just the weight room, but just soccer in general. That's something I'm grateful for from the game. And then the last thing I'm grateful for is just the collaboration and competition from both soccer and performance training. When I was doing performance training as a high schooler and also in college, even though I was competing against a lot of my teammates and other girls and racing against them in our speed work and trying to get top on our fitness tests and beat everyone else out, I thought it was cool that at the same time we were collaborating in the sense we were trying to all get each other better. And I think in this game, that's the beautiful thing. You can be competitive with other girls, but you can also do it in a way that is good intentioned and something that just elevates the entire group. And this is about your team and making friends along the way. And within performance training, I also met a lot of new girls from other club teams that I played against. And when we trained together, it was on, it was heated, but we were just all there to get each other better. And we were all there for the same goal. So I thought that was always something that was cool that came out of performance training. And in these pictures here, these are some of the girls that I work with in Tampa, Florida. And these are some of our speed and agility sessions. And these three girls right here, they're all from different club teams. They never knew each other before doing the training. And now they're all best friends. But when we're doing our sprints, it's game on and they're trying to outrun each other. And, there's winners, there's losers. But at the end of the day, we all can shake hands and tell each other good job and celebrate one another, which is such a cool thing. And then these are some of my college girls. Also, they had never known each other. These girls actually play against each other, which is really funny. But they became the best of friends and they were always getting after it and really competing in a lot of our speed sessions. So yeah, I can't say enough at how much soccer and training has just done for me just in life after sport. And I think it's those lessons that are just so valuable. And I think it's easy to forget them and not be grateful like in the moment as you're going through your career. But kind of what Amanda said, it's good to just take a pause where you are and be like, wow, I'm lucky to be doing this or meeting these other girls or getting in the weight room and even just like having access to a weight room, which a lot of us, we didn't have access to it even just 7 years ago. So I think it's good to just remind yourself of the gratitude within this game and what it's doing for you.
No, that was amazing, Erica. Thank you so much. And I'll wrap it up, guys. I'm gonna be honest, like I don't have a PowerPoint. I'm just here to talk to you guys like as a part of our community, which is when Jen asked me like we're putting together this Friendsgiving panel, what's something that you're grateful for? The first thing that came to my mind were the people along my journey. I think if anyone knows my journey, if anyone knows the story of like how Sam got to where I am, it's had its ups and downs, it's had its pathways, it's had that, but if it wasn't for people, and I think that's the exciting games, we'll get into that definition in my community, I wouldn't be here. And so many of you seem to recognize that. You said that when Amanda asked you what's something you're lucky for. So many of you said, I'm lucky for the people that support me. I'm lucky for my family that allows me to be at practice every day. I'm thankful for this. And so it's amazing that you recognize that. And I want to kind of challenge some thoughts on that a little bit too. So the first thing I think of is like, what is community? We say community all the time. Oh my gosh, I love my soccer community. And I think like challenging that definition of like, how do we actually define community? And for me, I think community is such a broad term in the best possible way. Because when I think of community, I think of literally every single person in my life. This can be someone like my mom who drove me to practice for years, my teammates, my coaches, my opponents. And even all of you are my community. Obviously, I work with Girls Soccer Network a lot, and like they're especially special to me, but meeting all of you guys here today, like you have now become a member of my community. And because of that, I'm really grateful for you. And so I think recognizing that community can be virtual, community can cross seas, community can be just interactions of something, like we have something in common. We all here love soccer, and that's fantastic. So like, welcome to my community, and I'm happy to have you here. And when I think of community, obviously, like I said, you're now a part of my community, but no more part of me expects for you to say like, oh my gosh, I'm so thankful for my mom for driving me to practice every day. And I'm so thankful for Sam Cary on that one panel I spent with on Girls Soccer Network. She's why I'm here today. Like, no. Like, community is broad. And we have people that have different aspects on that, like, and impacts on life. So when I think of community, you know, like those Russian nesting dolls, I think they're still things, they honestly creeped me out when I was a little bit, down to think about it. But it's this idea that like, you have me, I'm the dot of my own circle, of my own universe. And then my family, my close-knit people around me are going to be really tight. And then like, as we go, your community gets broader, your circles get bigger. You know, those people probably have less of an impact on who you are as a person, but they're still a part of your community, if that makes sense. And when we think about those rings and we think about those, you know, little tiny dolls that go into other dolls and other dolls, we can think about how we define and where those ranges end. And this is where I think about it. Like I said, I'm the center of my own community, 100%, you know, and just like Erica is the center of her community, Amanda's the center of hers. And that close ring around you, like that's your closest. That is the people who drive you to practice every day. That's the people that allow you to be in sport. That's the people who support your dreams. You know, I'll be honest, like I was a player, like when I was young, all I said was, I want to be a professional soccer player. And I had plenty of people laugh in my face and say, no, like, what are you doing? Come on, be realistic, Sam. That's not my tightest. They're in my community, but they're not my closest. The people that are say like, oh yeah, let's go. That's my closest. And one thing I really learned, I think, especially when I went to college, is who you are as a person so much becomes the average of that tightest community to you. My college coach used to say this all the time, like you are an average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And so I think if you ever want to see like, what is my reflection or how do other people think of me, look around the people you spend like the 5 people you spend the most time with. And that tends to be who you are. So when you're looking at your closest community, make sure that that's an average that you want to be around. Make sure that the people in that average bring out the best part of you. Make sure those people in that average challenge you to be better every day. And that's what that closest community is, because when you know that you love being around those closest people and they bring out the best in you, that's your tight circle. And moving on to a circle outside of that a little. This is the circle I kind of define as my challengers. And when I think of challengers, you know, I think of the coaches who have, you know, yelled at me probably one too many times. And I've definitely, you know, come home crying from a few soccer practices, even within like the last year. It happens when you're an adult too. You know, I think of the opponents I play against that, you know, beat me 1v1 and made me look silly. I think about the girls that I've tackled in games and won challenges against. I think about the teammate, you know, one of my favorite stories when I was little is like, I don't know that I fell in love with soccer, but I fell in love with competing. And I can tell you when my best friend got 30 juggles and I only had 20, I was in the backyard till I got 31 just to compete. Those are my competitors. And competitors are important to us, not only because they give us something to chase, but because they really help us identify where our goals are. And what I kind of mean by that is, you know, if my best friend got 30 juggles and I only had 25, and I didn't truly want to be in the backyard till I got 31, maybe that's not a goal of mine. You know, maybe that's not something I'm chasing. And that's totally fine. That is 100% amazing and okay. But our challengers in our life help show us what we want. They're those people that, you know, make us think twice about, do I really want to put up with this coach who's yelling at me? Yeah, I do, because I want to play soccer today and I'm going to get better. Boom. Like that's a challenge and you're overcoming it. And I'm grateful because there's been so many people in my life that were better than me, that did challenge me. And because of that, it showed me how bad I wanted it. And finally, we can keep going on. There's different rings, there's different circles that we can talk about. But one circle, pretty far zoomed out, I'll say, like, this is not my closest, but they're around. And they're a part of my community, is our doubters and the people that don't think we're there. And there's some argument to be said about, should your doubters be a part of your community? Do we allow doubters, people that don't believe in us, people that try to bring us down? Like, why should they be in my community if they don't help me? And that's a fair point. That's a fair question. I think my counter to that argument is we can't shelter our life from doubters. And trust me, as you go up the scales in your soccer career, you're going to have doubters. I remember committing to college and people saying, like, no way you're ever going to play at Iowa. I remember wanting to go pro, and there was plenty of people that laughed in my face at that. Like, there will always be doubters. So I think they should be a part of our community, because we can use that to our advantage. And I really want you to kind of think, like, I'm sure right now in all of your lives, you can think of someone that just pops into your head as a doubter. I know I got a couple up here. Maybe it's that girl at school. Maybe it's that, parent that thinks their daughter's so much better than you. Maybe it's the person that you said your goals to and they laughed in your face. They're there. I think we all know that they're there. So how do we use that? And for me, one thing that I really think responding to our doubters, I'm sure we've all heard, like, the tacky, like, haters are motivators and stuff like that. But, like, it's true. And that's an aspect. If that really channels you of, like, I'm going to prove you wrong, and that's the mentality, that's great. And then guess what? The best feeling in the world when we're talking about gratitude is proving them wrong and then shaking their hand with the smile. And you got to that point. You proved them wrong. And I'm so grateful for the people that doubted me in my life, because trust me, they showed me a path that they wanted to go, and I got to smile, be humble, but smile with confidence that I did it. And, I proved them wrong. Another way we can use our, doubters is kind of like our challengers, in the sense of, like, their validation for our dreams. If someone tells me, like, there's no way you're going to be a professional soccer player, and, like, that hurts me in my soul, guess what? I think I really want to be a professional soccer player. And I think sometimes in my journey, in my story, the biggest thing I can ever say is, like, if you truly want to do something, if you know why you want to do something and you have it in your heart and your soul, do it. 100% do it. And you're going to, if you do it. And there's going to be a lot of people trying to take you down. There's going to be that. But if, you have that hurt when I want to be a professional soccer player, I want to be an engineer, I want to be a lawyer, like, all of these things that we may want to do in our life, if someone tells you no and that hurts you a little bit, you must really want it. And I think those things are validating to us. And finally, I think those doubters in our life can really bring out our strength and our willingness. There's been plenty of doubters. Oh, there's no way that you're ever gonna, run this mile time. There's no way that you'll ever pass this fitness test. All those things that may have come up in our careers. And guess what? If I'm willing to work for that fitness test, and, like, that doubter really proves to me, like, the time I'm willing to put in, like, that's even more. And so I'm not saying we should only rely on our goals because of our doubters. That's definitely not the point. But I don't want to teach people to shelter themselves from doubters and just say, like, oh, like, you're not a factor. Because I think, unfortunately, in this day and age, it is an aspect. But when we're able to be grateful for both our supporters, the people that drive us to practice, the people that love us, the people in our tight circle, when we're able to be grateful for our challengers for putting obstacles in our way and helping us overcome them, and when we're able to be grateful for our doubters for really showing us our goals and, helping prove us that we're on the right direction, that community helps us get to where we want to go. So that was a lot of us talking. Thank you so much for being here and listening. And we just want to open it up. There's about, like, 13 minutes left to the hour. If you guys have questions for any of the three of us, if there's anything you want to express with gratitude, if there's any confusions about gratitude, or just questions in general, feel free to tune on, feel free to put them in the chat, or do whatever.
Yeah, and just if you guys are thinking and writing, I think it's just those stories. Thank you, Erica and Sam, sharing those stories. And as I'm listening, they really connected to all the points, that I made in the beginning, like the structure of gratitude. I mean, we're talking about taking experiences and shifting from an uncomfortable negative state into a more gracious, positive state. And that's how you move forward. And that's a quality of life. right? And so working on this doesn't just happen overnight. Like you work on your physical skills, you work on your technical, tactical skills, we work on our mental skills. And I would say that choosing gratitude can be a mental skill because it's not easy. It doesn't feel good when things aren't going your way. But I do think it's a key aspect to get you closer to the goals that you want.
I think we can all agree these three women are pretty incredible. And I really I got so much out of it. Thank you all. And does anybody have any thoughts or questions? Is that Peyton there? I see you now. You got, hi. It's an old time. It's an OG ambassador over there. No, really, just so, when we had a pre-meeting, there's a saying that says, if you're in gratitude, you can't be sad. And I think that it's true. Like if even though sadness is important to experience, but thinking of those little, just making that little list, I do it every single morning, 3 things before I have my coffee that I'm grateful for, so I can just be conscious of it. It's so important. And you guys are youngsters, and if you can learn some of these, if you just take a little bit out of this, it's gonna go a long way. And by the way, I love Russian nesting dolls and have quite a collection, Sam. So they're not creepy, whatever you said. They're the only thing I collect, pretty much. It's good to laugh too. But is there any, you guys, we have these 3 amazing, women, and any questions, go for it. And by the way, you can always, DM them. You can get in touch with any of them through me, through Girls Soccer Network. You can DM us. But we're going to be doing more of these events, and we'd love to get feedback too, if you enjoyed this, because it's important. And usually they'll be on Sunday nights, but we couldn't work it out this time. But I hope you liked it,
I think it was really great. You guys are all amazing women, and the message that you shared was really good. And I think it's really important to be grateful, no matter where we are in our lives. But like for like all of us still playing soccer, like being grateful at the stage you're at, even if it's really hard, even if, like Sam said, coaches that yell at you, like knowing that, like being grateful that they're there because that they're really just trying to do their best to help you. And like, even if teammates are tough on you sometimes, like that great community of teammates together. And yeah, so you guys are amazing. Thanks so much.
Peyton, it's been so great to watch you grow up practically, and Erica, that no one hits the weight room like Peyton too. So no, but
I love to hear that.
Yeah.
It's great. I mean, it's empowering, and I think when you realize it has so many other benefits beyond just soccer, it's like, wow, this is the real deal. So keep going.
Great to hear, Amaris and Felicia. This is great.
And no pressure if there are no other questions. Like Jen said, you can get in contact with any of us through Girls Soccer Network. And we're so grateful that you guys were here. And thank you for spending your time with us. And if not, like if you have no more questions, feel free to go. And thank you so much for coming.
Hi, Maddie.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Guys.
coming.
Thank you.
Thank
See you,
you.
Maddie.
Bye-bye. Bye, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.